Well, good morning, my Teaser King family. How is everybody? So, we have a good MMcgwire video. I was looking for it yesterday before class, but he didn't really come on until about 2 o'clock. And I got to turn the air on. Warm in here. I got to have a heating guy come out and look at it. It just seems like outside it's not as warm as it is in here. Also, my milk curdled, which is brand new milk. Well, I get half and half, and I can see it's kind of, so I'm going to take it back to the grocery store on my way to swim today. Let's look at our gold and silver. So MMcgwire kind of sets it. We'll be looking at $8,000 to $10,000 gold relatively soon, on its way to $30,000 gold. The U.S. will have to redo their gold. If we have any gold in Fort Knox at all, that is ours. I believe it's all belongs to China. We kind of leased it out to them, and they got it, and they're not going to give it back. We can't sell it at $40 an ounce when it's $4,000 an ounce. But wait a minute, we want to make money, so we want $10,000 an ounce. So it's going to behoove the U.S. to let it run. I'm looking at gold today, and I really just am mystified. But we know it's paper, and this is why, if you understand what's going on, what's really happening. So gold's 40.32. It was 41.25 yesterday, and silver got up to 59. Why it's getting pushed down? It's again the same bullshit. J.P. Morgan and the bullion banks still playing these stupid options. They're going to get killed on, because the physical demand is going to drive the price up, and they're going to try to short it. So they're doing shorts all day at 4,060 and 4,050, and then it's going to go to 8,000, and they're going to lose their ass. So that's what's happening. So again, per MMcgwire, we'll see a much higher gold price. So don't worry. We know this is paper bullshit, not physical, real, and we will be fine. So we will be very happy, and I will share that with you. And once you see it, you'll go, yeah, okay, everything's fine. It's just a temporary thing. A lot of it's the month end. You know how the banks fuck their books by lowering the gold price at month end to mark the market, whatever that means. And it says, oh, look, gold's 4,000, so it looks good on their books as opposed to gold 4,100. They do it every month end, and I kind of forgot that. I was so excited about the physical that's what's been happening this whole week, is they've been dropping it for their balance sheet, but it's not a real price anyway. So the whole system's fucked up, where they're trying to, well, look at what gold is. Anyway, so that's what's going on. I can't believe my milk's curdled. It's due. It's good till August 4th, and it's July 31st. I hate when that happens. Anyway, so the physical gold will be the key. China's going gold standard. Africa's going gold standard. Russia's gold standard. And they need gold, and they need a higher gold price, because gold standard means I can only print as many dollars as I have gold, because it has to be backed by gold. So if I only have $1 billion worth of gold, I could only print $1 billion. But not this heavy inflation rate. I need more money. So they need a $20,000, $30,000 gold price. so they can print enough money, and it will lower all the cost. All the prices will go way down because they're all priced in dollars. This seems to be the hang up when talking to people that they don't get. The guy wants to buy a house, it's $500,000 in dollars. But when you price in gold, the value is maybe 50, 60,000. And the gold value is going up to 20, 30,000. 2 ounces will buy the house. People seem to have a terrible understanding of the concept that what's priced in dollars is not what the gold price is. It's totally different. So we will see that, because again, you're pricing things in monopoly money that has no value. So I need more dollars to buy things because the dollar has no value. That's what the inflation really does. It's not prices going up. It's you need more dollars because the dollar has no value. That's why it costs more, is because the value of the dollar is worthless. So it's not necessarily prices going up. And as I've stated, just because your costs go up does not mean your price can go up. If the market, McDonald's cannot charge $20 for a hamburger, nobody will be there. So you got to understand that. Anyway, so that's what we have with gold. So I will play MMcgwire in a little bit. And let's go to baseball yesterday. I went 4-1 plus 7 units. Your free play is San Francisco and Boston both won. Robbie Ray, and I think we bet against, who's Boston playing? Oakland. I think we bet against Oakland because their pitchers sucked. And now you know why I go into the pitchers, but then you understand why I go into the pitchers. So we went on. So let's go through this. Tampa Bay 3, Texas 2, usually a low-scoring game with Tampa. Minnesota 4, KC 3, I had no idea, and I stayed away. The White Sox 2, the Yankees 1. I played the White Sox, got the win. Again, it was the pitcher. If Schitler was pitching, I wouldn't have taken the White Sox. But I took the White Sox because I think Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers was pitching against somebody good on the White Sox. Sean Burke, the goalie from New Jersey. The Cubs 4, St. Louis 2, I had no idea, and I didn't play it. The Mets 4, Miami 2, that was low scoring. Our only loser was Pittsburgh. Cincinnati won 3-2, and I made a mistake. I didn't realize there was a bullpen guy. The starting pitcher normally goes 4 or 5 innings, and he only went 2. So it was a lot of bullpen, but we got to the 9th inning, tied at 2, and they gave up a run in the bottom of the 9th. Atlanta 5, Washington 4. We had Atlanta. The Niners 4, San Diego 1. We played Robbie Ray, that won. And Boston 5, Oakland 4. We had Boston. So your free plays, Boston Niners win. Atlanta wins, Pitt loses. Again, they don't really score, and that's kind of surprising. They lose 3-2. They haven't been. And I looked at the lineup, and I got 7 guys hitting 250, 260. And then the White Sox beat the Yankees. That was a ballsy call, but it worked because you hate going against the Yankees. So 4-1, plus 7 units. All were 2 except for the 3-unit Boston. And that's what gets me into our art versus science and how to bet football. So if you notice there, all the games were 2 units except Boston was 3 units. So I expect you to bet more on the 3 units. You're betting so much per unit. A 2-unit game you might bet $25 on, and a 3-unit game you might bet $50 on. So you would have won at 7 units at $25 a unit, you'd have won $175. And that's the point. You grade the games differently based on key elements. And you go, aha, they're going to win because X, Y, and Z. In baseball, it's because, oh yeah, Mizorowski's pitching, or Cam Schittler's pitching, or Sanchez, or Jake Wheeler's going. And you try that. You look for what is going to make us win. And that's the key to betting. Which variable is important to pick the winner? And I do that better than anybody. That's the art. The art is understanding this variable is not like turnover margin. It's useless. You don't know if you're getting a turnover in the game. And then you're not going to time of possession. It's useless. If I run the kickoff back, I got 7 points and I didn't take any time off the ball. Now they get the ball. But the time of possession is going to go in the other team's favor, but I ran the kickoff back. It's a meaningless stat. All those are meaningless stats. And so I've developed what is a meaningful stat: the defense, the coach, the quarterback. You got Mahomes out there, you got a good chance of winning. You got a good defense like the Eagles, you got a good chance of winning. You got a good coach versus a bad coach. The Lions coach is a bad coach. He cost them the Super Bowl. They beat the Niners if Vince Lombardi or Bill Walsh or any good coach, Sean Payton, if they were the coach, the Lions would have won easily. They're up 17. But you had a bad coach in Dan Campbell, and you're still there, and you're still bad. He didn't get any better. So you always kind of look, he's a tough guy, but he's not a good coach. And that's the point of it. So how do you analyze the coach? Well, you see how they win. Bill Walsh, great coach. Bill Parcells, great coach. Lombardi. Don Shula, not a great coach. He won with the Super Bowl with the Dolphins, running Zonka, and he had Warfield, and he had Greasy, and he had a good defense, and he never duplicated it. Then he went to a passing offense like he did at Baltimore, and he never won anything at Baltimore. He had a great team with Baltimore in the 60s. They never won a thing. And then 68, he loses the Super Bowl with Baltimore against the Jets on a fixed Super Bowl. Carol Rosenboom bet a couple million on the Jets, and Earl Morrall was in on it, and it was a fix, and Baltimore lost. And then when Baltimore did win, he wasn't the coach. And then he wins at Miami with Zonka and Kick and Greasy and Warfield and the defense. And then he brings in Marino. He gets away from the running game, and he gets away from the defense. And that was it. And he was all done. And so I don't consider him a great coach. He got a lot of wins because he was in weak conferences. That AFC East is always very weak for some reason. But anyway, understanding the coach, Joe Gibbs, he's going to win. Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson. I love betting on Jimmy Johnson. You'd make a fortune. And that was the key to it. So you analyze and problem solve and critical think what's the key variables. But when we come to a new season, we don't know if there's new coaches, how they're going to, the coach went, from James Madison to UCLA. We don't know what's going to happen. So we got to keep an eye on it. We know the other James Madison coach went to Indiana, took them a few years, and they won the title. But you could see they got really good, fell short, and then last year they won it all. So now we go, James Madison coaches are good coaches. So not only that, but we also want to bet James Madison. So that's really the key to it. So we figured out the key, but we don't know. We're blind in the first 3 or 4 games for the changes. The new coaches that come, the new quarterbacks that transfer or that are developed, and the defense. Last year, Texas Tech surprised us. Miami surprised us. We didn't know their defense were that strong. And they were. So, now they're on our radar. Hey, watch Texas Tech, watch Miami. This year, UCLA, USC, what's UCLA with the James Madison coach? I guarantee you they'll have a good defense. Don't know much about what else they're going to have. I don't like their quarterback, UCLA. But he'll probably switch quarterbacks. And then the same thing with the guy at Indiana, comes in, strong defense. I think they'll be fine. So we're reading the new coaches and the new quarterbacks, and they're making it much more difficult for us to bet. In the NFL, they fired 10 coaches. I got coaches. I got the Baltimore coach at Buffalo. I got Buffalo with the new coach. I don't even remember his name. I got Pittsburgh with the new coach. I got new quarterbacks all over the place. Then I got a new coach in Ben Johnson who looks really good. But then I got Caleb, who I don't like. So he looked good. He looked terrible the first year. Last year he had a new coach and he looked good. But was it him or the coach? And this is the key. So you're trying to figure out the first, in the NFL, probably the first 3 weeks. If we can see him in the preseason, great, but we probably can't. Now, we know a Mahomes and a Joe Burrow and a Josh Allen and Lamar. We already know who they are. C.J. Stroud, Bo Nix, we got. Darnold, we're a little confused on because he sucks. Then he has Kenneth Walker, and the key is if you have a balanced offense, you have a good offense, you're going to score a lot, you're going to win a lot. And they had a good defense. Seattle's made a huge mistake getting rid of Kenneth Walker. Look for KC to win the Super Bowl or Denver. Let's see how that plays out. But Denver got a very good defense, and they got the best coach, Sean Payton. So that's what you got to be careful of. Okay? That's what you're looking at. And then what do we do with it, right? So we've developed the variables that you cannot do in a formula. I know guys have tried. Let me do a formula for it. Let me analytic it. Doesn't work. That's why analytics doesn't work. It doesn't pick up all the key variables. There's no art to analytics. It's strictly science. It's strictly, well, it's a left-handed pitcher coming in. Let's pinch it with a righty. Well, can the righty even hit the lefty? Can't the lefty hit the lefty? So for some reason, you just assume that the lefty cannot hit the lefty, and you bring in a righty who's hitting 082. You take out a guy hitting 280, and the guy strikes out. What a great move that was. Plus, you got your good hitter out of the game. If it's like 5th or 6th inning, that's trouble. I do agree putting in your best defense. I was listening to something yesterday, and they don't even take infield anymore. No wonder these guys suck. I don't think the coaches have any clue what they're doing anymore. If they're not doing in cutoff man and infield ground balls before the game, they should all be fired. I don't know where they learned that from, and it's absolutely a joke. That the Tigers guy is an idiot. Again, he pulled Skubal after 7 innings. He's shutting him out with 12 strikeouts, but he pulls him. And I just don't, you're trading the guy. Why are you pulling him? If you're going to pitch him, let him go 9 innings. You're trading him anyway. Who cares if you hurt his arm? Hurt his arm. So anyway, this is what we have to view. And so the first few weeks, you don't bet as much. That's why I'm trying to give you signals. Hey, just go 5 units on the first few regular games. The lock might be 10 or 11 units. I think I found a couple of locks first couple of weeks in college. And I think I have one in the pros. And so I'm only good, but I'd certainly be like an 11 unit lock, not the 30 unit lock in the Super Bowl, right? So it's an 11 unit lock, bet it accordingly. I got an email and my friend says, well, I usually bet a lot early and then I lose and I don't have any money for the rest of the year. Well, you've got to keep your bankroll in perspective. I'm going to try to bet all the way through the Super Bowl. So the last thing I want to do is make a big bet and lose it early. I don't want to make a big bet at all and take the risk of losing it. So I want to make smaller bets and let my bankroll grow and be around for week 7 and week 10, because now we know the teams and our locks are 25 units and we're winning a ton. That's where I win most of my money, is like after week maybe 5 or 6. Oh, New England's really good. Oh, look at Seattle. Oh, well, we know the Rams. The Niners have injuries. Oh, we'll bet again. Oh, Daniels got hurt. Let's bet against Washington. And that comes in about week 6, week 7. Not that I don't have good picks early, but the variety of picks booms by about week 6. And in pro and college, it's about week 3. Not that I don't have good picks week 1. Like I said, I have a lock week 1. And as we go through it, the Ohio State-Texas game, probably going to bet under, but I got to see the line on it. And we go through that. Alabama plays Georgia again. So you've got your games that Oklahoma, Texas. So you have those that you can bet. But now it's the MAC conference. Where's my lock? Who's my bitch there? Who's my bitch in the Sun Belt? Looks like UMass. It looks like Lou Monroe usually. Now, you got to be careful. Lou Monroe might have a real good team. They might have brought in a different coach and a better quarterback, and the defensive coordinator is different. And all of a sudden, Lou Monroe is a stud team in the Sun Belt. They haven't been, and they probably won't be. That's what the Gray Sports Almanac tells me. Oh, no, I got them last in the Sun Belt. But we'll see how accurate that is. So that's what you're looking for. And then as we start figuring out the Lou Monroe is really a Z team, or now they're an over team, or they went to a nice offense, but they still can't play defense. And that's what you got to see. So looking at my baseball, I hit Robbie Ray. I hit Boston because the Oakland pitcher sucked. I hit the White Sox because I don't remember. Sean Burke's been hot. I think he's won like his last 7 or 8. So I took the White Sox and he won. So why did I win? So I know why I won. And it worked, right? So if I do X, does Y happen? And that's the art, not the science. And I find that because I'm older and I grew up in the 60s, in the 70s, you didn't have internet. You didn't have these analytics and all that. You had to figure it out on your own. I didn't even have Excel until I think it was the early 90s or maybe the late 80s is when I finally got Excel. So I'm doing everything on paper. So I have to learn it. I have to figure it out. But I don't like to lose. So I pick a loser. Like I tell you, that Eagles-Cincinnati game, Boomer Esiason. I don't remember who the Eagles quarterback was. It wasn't Donovan McNabb. It was before then. It might have been Randall Cunningham. And I took Philly, and they lost. And I said, why? Well, Boomer Esiason was better than I thought. Cincinnati was better than I thought. And then I started creating how is Cincinnati as a road dog and how's Philly as a home favorite. And I've done that, and I will go through that when I do football, maybe tomorrow, maybe today if I have time, but I want to show you MMcgwire. Very critical for us to see the MMcgwire one. So when you're looking at this, you're problem solving and analyzing the variables that are necessary to win and ignoring the variables that are bullshit. I do it all the time when I'm looking at these gold guys and the economic guys on YouTube, and I go, they don't even understand. As soon as they don't understand inflation, I give them a thumbs down, tell them to fuck off, get off the air. Because you don't know what you're doing, and you're issuing a lot of bad news. Well, inflation's going to go up, or they're holding inflation at 2%. You don't even understand what inflation is. That's not inflation. That's prices. And you don't even know that. Then why the fuck would I want to listen to you? But that's what you're doing with football. You're trying to get what it is I love when they put avocados on sale, 7 for $7, and they're all kind of old and crappy. Not good. So he misses the variable. Well, Trump's got inflation to 2%. No, he doesn't. The prices are 2%. They're not inflation. The money's worthless. That's the inflation, not the prices. Like I said, the real key measure of inflation is the prices. Is it takes more money to buy the milk. Instead of 59 cents, it's $2.59 because the money's worthless. So it looks like the price has gone up, but again, it's the dollar's gone down, so you need more dollars to pay for the 59 cents now cost you $3. It's not prices going up. And so when he says 2% inflation, that's a fantasy. When the other idiot, and MMcgwire does bring this up, the guy says, "Oh yeah, I went to Fort Knox and there I saw the gold and it's there." And Mark, I'll play it. He just kind of laughs like, "Well, it's repatriated. It's China's gold, and you're going to have to give it to him, or you're going to have to sell it at the $40 an ounce that we have on the books, which you can't do. Not when it's 4,000 and it should be 10,000. So that's what we have. But see, so we understand the variable of gold is the dollar's worthless, and gold you can't print. See, that's the key point. They printed the dollar to zero, but you cannot print gold. So you can't ever inflate it or lose its value. So therefore, that's why we buy it. We know it can only go up. And unless there's no demand, but why would there be no demand? They've just fucked up all the dollars. Every currency in the whole world that's not backed by gold is worthless. All right, we get that. That's the art. And in football, we got college. We got all this switches. We got all these coaching changes. In the pros, there's 10 new coaches. So I don't care that the guy from Baltimore is now the Buffalo coach. He couldn't coach anyway, Harbaugh. He's a bad coach. So I'm sitting there going, what's going to happen in the new Baltimore coach? What you going to do with Lamar? If I'm the coach, he's playing wide receiver. 2-time MVP. That's a bunch of bullshit. In what world was he ever better than Mahomes? In no world was Lamar a better quarterback than Mahomes and should have been MVP when Mahomes was in the league. And for that matter, Joe Burrow is right up there with Mahomes as the best quarterback, and nowhere in the world is Lamar better than Joe Burrow. Just obvious. John C., hello. Good morning. Good Friday. So that's really the beginning. So we don't want to risk a lot in week 1 and week 2 on our bankroll, betting on our football, just like baseball. Now that I've got it figured out, I go 4-1, 7 units yesterday, 6-5, 2 units the day before. And I had a 10 unit day. I went 7-3 for 10 units. Now that I've pretty much figured it out, then you can start upping your value of your units. So maybe we were $10 a unit before. I don't know if he knows what he's doing. But now that I'm proving, hey, I figured it out, the units go up to 25. Maybe on that the free 3-unit play or the 4-unit play that I give out, that might be, I had Mizorowski 4 units. That you might play for $50 a unit. Yeah, that might be a $50 play as opposed to a $25 play. Because, yeah, he's figured out what to look for. And the only blind spot in baseball is the managers are so stupid that they really kill the betting. That's where I kind of think baseball could be fixed, is the manager comes out and he pulls the pitcher. And then like the Tiger guy, he's a cheater. We know that. He cheated in the World Series and he lied about it. And now that they use microphones to do it, the Tigers can't win because he can't steal the signs. But he's a cheat. That's already been established. He cheated with Houston stealing the signs. So now he's on Detroit. He pulls Skubal in the 7th inning for no reason. You're trading the guy. Why do you care? Just pitch him 9 innings. if you're going to pitch him. If I wouldn't have pitched him because if I'm trading him, he'll get hurt. I wouldn't have played him at all the whole year because he could get hurt. But when you do this, and then the reliever you put in immediately, the two guys give up 7 runs and you lose 9-8. Yeah, there's probably a fix going on there, because who you put in the bullpen, who you put in the game, you could put it. It's usually the guy with the 6 ERA pitches the 9th or 10th inning, and you're like, what the fuck is it? Why is this guy in the game at all with that ERA? And as I taught you yesterday, it's the spin rate. That's why they're in, because they can spin the ball. They can't throw strikes. That's not important. It's important as how you can spin the ball, not can you throw strikes. And what do you do with the bases loaded? Do you choke and spin the ball a lot as it's 4 feet outside? You're throwing wild pitches. You're hitting batters, but you don't know how to pitch and you don't know how to get strikeouts. But you have a good spin rate. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and that's when you get in trouble not using art, using science. Well, we'll look at spin rate. The NBA, we'll just look at, can you shoot 3-point shots? It's probably a lot better if he slam dunks it or does a skyhook like Kareem. That probably works a little better. How many 3-pointers did Jordan shoot? Not a lot. He drove the lane. You couldn't stop him. He'd do a pull-up jumper, the one that beat Utah. He didn't shoot 3-point shots. Shooting 3-point shots is not the answer. Again, it's a science. It's worth more, but analytically, it's harder to do. And when you miss, you set up a fast break for the other team, and you end up losing the game, and that's why the Knicks won. So it's easier to do analytics or that because it's just the math formula. You don't know if it works. You just do the formula and say, "Wow, the formula works." Really? Well, I don't really know, but I'm going to say it works. And then you go for it on 4th down and you lose the game. The formula does not work. The analytics does not work. The art works. Fuck, we're playing Philadelphia. We're playing KC when they have the good defense. Denver. Yeah, I probably don't want to go on 4th and 2 at the midfield because I'm probably not going to get it. The odds of me getting it are about 1%, and then they're going to have the ball at midfield, and I'm going to lose the game. So really, do I want to really go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 against those teams? Maybe against Atlanta, but I don't even know. Arizona, Tennessee, the JETSs, maybe you go against them, but not against the good team. Philadelphia, Lions went 5 times and didn't make it once. They lose the game by 20. Yeah, maybe the art would have been better going, fuck, we're playing Philadelphia. I'm just going to punt the ball. The only hope I got is to punt them inside the 10 5 times and then play defense, maybe get a turnover, or at least I get another punt and I get good field position. But to keep going for it, no, it's not a good move. It's a terrible move. Oh, but analytics says it is. And that's how we're playing now. We're playing science, not art. And then you're fucked. So to bet, you're looking at week 1 and week 2 to see, all right, who's the coach? What kind of defenses are you? How's the new quarterback? That's what you're looking for the first few weeks. So you don't want to bet a lot. You might bet a lot on Ohio State. You might bet a lot on Texas, on Old Mississippi, LSU, Bama. It's got a new quarterback. Georgia, we got to see what's going on there. Georgia's kind of solid. The coach is back. The quarterback's back. Hopefully we got a better defense than we've been getting. But that's what you're looking for. We know Oklahoma's quarterback sucks. We know their defense is really good. So, again, Oklahoma will be an under team. I think they play Michigan week 2 or 3. That'd probably be a lock. Because I know Michigan, if they play underwear, has no quarterback and a great defense with the new coach, great coach, the Utah coach. I can't believe I want to say Wittenberg, but that ain't right. Anyway, so they're going to be a strong defensive team, and Oklahoma defensive coach, the quarterback sucks, strong defensive team. So that's what you're looking for is those over. We're looking bet against the Z team. We're looking the over teams playing. We're looking the under teams playing, and that's our first couple of weeks. And that we can identify solid teams. Georgia. Okay, we kind of have an idea. Alabama, we got to see the new quarterback, and they play a high school team the first week. But as we get more flavor, and it's a little easier in the pros, this is why I tell you Lamar sucks. You don't want to bet a lot on Lamar. We don't want to bet a lot on CJ Stroud. We don't want to bet a lot on Tennessee or the JETSs. We want to bet against them. We don't want to bet on them. We might bet Josh Allen or an over, depending on who they play. And that's the key. Even the first game, New England at Seattle, we got to see Seattle without Kenneth Walker. They're not going to be a pretty sight. I know they got the other running back, but Darnold's going to be a lot worse without Walker. And KC with Walker and Mahomes, look out. I don't think they'll look well. They got this first tough game with Denver, but I think after that, the only other game they might lose is the other game at Denver. The two Denver games are the only ones they might lose. But when you put that combination of a strong runner and the passer like Mahomes, forget about it. How are you going to stop him? You're gonna go stop Walker? Well, Mahomes will pick you apart. Well, we'll stop Mahomes and Walker will run right through you, as he did in the Super Bowl. That was a good defense in New England had that he ran right through. So that's what we have to see. When do you pull the trigger on the dog, and when do you pull the trigger on the under in a lot of these games? And that's why I rank the teams. You have to learn the team so you know what you're betting. In the first few weeks, you have to know what the team is. What's Arkansas? Well, probably an over team, but let's see. They might have brought in a lot of defense. Maybe the quarterback has gotten better. Notre Dame, well, they should have a pretty good defense. The quarterback's really good. I'm not worried about the running backs. So Notre Dame should be a pretty good team. Miami, they lost Reuben Bain, but they brought in some defense. They got a great quarterback, a great running back, and a great receiver. They're in my book, they're the number one team. As long as they can replace Reuben Bain, and then you got Ohio State right up there. Indiana will be better with Hoover than they were with Mendoza. Hoover's a better quarterback than Mendoza. Does that mean Hoover's the Heisman Trophy winner? I don't know. And that's why I get all pissy about Dagiopava, because he's the quarterback that stirs the drink that you want. He's the quarterback you look for, and nobody's signing him. What the fuck is that? So how is nobody signing? How is nobody signing Dagiopava? He's the perfect quarterback. He can run. He's got a cannon for an arm. He can read a defense. The fact he's small, he's the same height as Steve Young, and he's the same height as Kyler Murray. The only difference is Kyler Murray gets hurt all the time, and Steve Young sucks. And Daggio's went to Vanderbilt and won. So you really have to look at that, and that's really the key. Why isn't he? That's why I bitch about it. Is he should be playing? He's the quarterback we want to bet on, and he's not. He's not playing. He doesn't have to go to Canada. We know how good he is. We saw him at Vanderbilt. We saw him at New Mexico State. So that's what you're looking for in the new guys that come on. You're looking for the Dagiopavas. Unfortunately, these guys want to go with CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. You're like, yeah, those guys suck. Yeah, but they got a good spin rate. They can really spin the football. They don't know what team they're throwing to, but they can spin it. I mean, it's just unbelievably stupid. So anyway, that's what you do. So you bet small of the uncertainty. So I might, we're going to do pro football week one. It's going to be Joe Burrow. It's going to be Mahomes. It's going to be the Eagle defense. It's going to be the Rams. It's going to be, I'm not sold on Drake May, and the Niners. Purdy's decent, and McCaffrey's there. So they're a pretty good team. They get Fred Warner back, but he's injured and he's coming back. So I don't know how good he is. Then they're saying Bosa's coming back. Well, yeah, for 3 weeks till he gets injured again. Buffalo, We know they're an over team. It depends who they play. So you just walk down the thing, Green Bay at Minnesota. I don't know. I got to see how good Kyler Murray is going to be. And I know Green Bay doesn't have Micah Parsons. They don't have much of a team. I'm not sold on the coach. All he was an assistant at San Francisco. So he runs San Francisco's offense. Shanahan. So you're still looking at it. What's Myles Garrett going to do to the Rams? Is Aaron Donald coming back, which I think he will, but haven't heard it yet. I was watching this Hulk Hogan thing on Netflix. It's the same thing. He was there, and he was the Hulkster, Hulkamaniac, and he started to get old, and he wanted to take time off with his family. And they tried the Ultimate Warrior. He didn't work. Then they kind of fired Hulk Hogan, and then he went to try to do those movies. He wasn't a movie star. And then he didn't take the right roles. And then we've got him going to the WCW, and he's coming back, and he wanted to prove everybody wrong. And that's kind of, Aaron Donald's not trying to prove anybody wrong, but he's like, I got more gas in the tank, and Myles Garrett's here, and I got Stafford and Pukanuka. Yeah, we're probably going to win the Super Bowl if I come back. So it motivates him because he wants the limelight, and he wants to win. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come back. So you go through the teams, and you got to digest the new quarterback. With the new coaches, we have 10 of. That means there's 10 teams we can't even use teaser trends on because we can't use a teaser. I can't use the teaser trend on Pittsburgh with the new coach. What's his name? McCarthy. How can I use a Pittsburgh teaser trend on him? I can't. So I'm fucked out of my teaser trends. I can only do the whole thing. That's what I did last year with New England. I couldn't use New England because I had Drake May and I had Vrabel, and I had no data on them. You want data on those guys. I can't use Tom Brady data on New England now or Tampa. It's gone. Once he goes, there goes your trends. So that's why I tell you, sometimes I can use trend analysis, but I'm bright enough with my art to know I can't use the trend analysis when the coaches are gone and there's a new one and the quarterback is a new quarterback. I can't use the art. There's nothing there, but I'm smart enough to know it. So first couple of weeks, you're getting the action and you're just spending a little bit. We're kind of waiting. Now, again, on Ohio State and Texas, we're not waiting. We know we got our bearings. So there are plays to play in the first few weeks, but we're looking at all the other. How's Alabama going to do with the new quarterback? How's Ole Miss with the new coach? How's LSU with the new coach? Tennessee, new quarterback. UCLA, new coach. So that's why you take 3-4 weeks. And there could be some great plays. Oh, fuck, this UCLA coach is just as good as the Indiana coach, James Madison. And we start locking UCLA. But we don't know that right now. That might come week 4, week 5. These Z teams, we're going to lock against the Z teams in the Sun Belt, in the MAC, like we did last year. But we got to find them first. We think UMass is one. We think Lou Monroe is one. But we got to see. They might have turned. Look at New Mexico State. When they got Dagiopava, nobody knew who Dagiopava was. He goes to New Mexico State, and they start winning. And they win, and they win, and they win. And then we start betting on New Mexico State. Well, where the hell would that come from? And then and then the next year, we start locking New Mexico State. And then the next year, he goes to Vanderbilt. And they beat Bama. And this is why you how they're not taking Dagiopava's a joke. They don't know what they're doing is the problem with these GMs. But even so, I hate my glasses. But even so, they don't know what they're doing. So we're trying to see how good's the new coach. All right, we know Lane Kiffin at LSU should be pretty good offensively. We're not sure about his defense. Never had a good defense. And then you have the guy going to UCLA from James Mason. So some of the coaches you have an idea, some you don't. I'm not crazy about Langway going from Florida to Baylor. I'm like, now maybe he'll do good at Baylor. Maybe it was just a bad coaching at Florida and he didn't know what to do, but he's more of an athlete and the Baylor guy will run him out more. I don't know. That's what we want to see. So you're studying all that. And then about week 4, now we've seen it. And we want to see it against a good team. We want to see Baylor, Texas Tech, and Baylor putting up a 30 on them. We're going, hey, this Baylor team's good. But we don't want to see them against, Baylor against TCU, and you don't know what you're getting. It's 43-40. Well, that doesn't tell you anything. Both teams stink. So that's what we're looking at. So we're gathering data to get an idea of the team so we can rank the team, because the rank we have on half the teams, we don't know what it is. I'm using last year's rank. So when I went through the schedule and I go, this is what it is, that was last year's. This is how it ended last year. Miami. Well, it's not the same Miami team. Well, it's close, but they got rid of Ruben Maine, and then they added a better quarterback. Menshaw is a very good quarterback. So now you're like, okay. And so that's the key, is learning that. So as we discover the teams, we have the menu set. Where's my Z teams? Where's my A team, my over teams? And you just bet them. You just take the name out of it. Oh, Sunbelt Z, and here's Sunbelt over. I'm betting Sunbelt over. I don't know what the name of the team is. I don't care. That's why I say, people say, who's your favorite team? It's my A team. Whoever the A team is this year is my favorite team. That's the team that's going to make us money. And that's all we do. So that's why as the season goes, we get more comfortable with the grade. We get more comfortable with the team. We get the expected outcome. I expect an over team to put up 50 points on a Z team. So I'm going to bet the over team against the Z team. That's the expected outcome. And then you lose and you go, what happened? Oh, well, the Z team scored 30 points. They're not supposed to score 30. What happened? Did they change quarterbacks, or is the over, was it an over team that has a real bad defense? And so that's what you're learning. And when they lose, you go, what happened? And then you go, okay, that won't happen again. And then the teams that win, you're looking, what happened? Oh, yeah, I had it. That's right. I had Robbie Ray yesterday, and he won. Okay, yeah, everything works. Robbie Ray on a winning streak. I bet him he won. Okay, perfect. That's exactly the outcome I expected for the analysis that I did. And that's what you learn. So that's why, yes, you bet a little bit smaller on certain games. I start smaller units. I'm usually 5 and 7 unit college, and my lock will be an 11. But by the end of the year, it'll be 11 and 15 college, and my lock will be 25. So you can see how what I'm saying is, hey, now let's start unloading. Now we have a good feeling. We know what the expected outcomes are. We've got data on it, and off we go. This guy is a good coach, or he sucks. The quarterback really sucks, or he's good. The defense really sucks, or it's really much better, like Texas Tech and Miami last year. Now we understand, and now we take advantage of that. So we might bet against Pittsburgh, right, in the beginning, and then we find out, no, we want not. I'm talking college Pittsburgh. We might want to bet against them, and then they look really good, and we go, shit, we're going to start betting on them. So I just as easily switch. I did that with our guy in Utah, our quarterback that got hurt. At first they weren't scoring, and then he came in and they were lighting it up, and I'm betting them over, and I'm winning a ton. And then I start betting them. So I might have been betting against Utah at first. Oh yeah, Kyle Whittingham on Michigan, right? And who was the quarterback? I don't know. I can't remember. I know, but I can't. This isn't coming. Anyway, but that switch happened in the middle. I wasn't betting Utah over at first, but then when I see Cam Rising. So when Cam Rising starts coming in, and I'm looking at, and all of a sudden they're scoring 45 points a game, I'm who's Cam Rising? He wasn't even their first or second stringer. But as soon as I see him, I switch and I start betting Utah or Utah over every game. And we clean up. And we did the same thing with Van Dyke on Miami. They sucked, and then the guys got hurt, and then here comes Van Dyke, and he starts putting up 45 a game, and the totals on the game are low 40s because the guys who handicap just look at the whole season, and they don't take into effect the first quarterback who sucked isn't there anymore, but the scores are lower. So I'm playing 43s, and I'm getting Van Dyke to throw for – he's throwing for 50 points on his own. It's like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And so you've got to keep your eye on it and then be able to adapt and switch. That's how we win. We switch to, here's what we're looking for, and it's not there at first, and then it is. And you wonder about the coaches going, why didn't you start Van Dyke in the first week? He started DeAndre Young from Houston, who sucked, and he was really bad. And then he gets hurt like week 3 or week 4. And then here comes Van Dyke, and it's 50 points a game. And you're like, you didn't know he was better? Like, you're the coach, and you couldn't see this in practice. So anyway, that's why. So then you start betting more and more because the expected outcomes become easier because we now have data. We can see them. We have data points. If they do it against Ohio State and Texas and Oklahoma and Alabama, then we really start unleashing on them. And that's what you're looking for. So we're looking at all this. My weeks are spent looking at box scores. Sunday during the pros, I'm looking at the Saturday box scores going, what happened? This team's supposed to get shut out, scored 45 points. Oh, who's this quarterback? And that's how you find it, and that's how we win. But we have to find him, and he doesn't necessarily start week 1. He might start week 3 or he might start week 4. But when he starts and we see what he did, and he did it against a decent team, we start betting on him. And so we don't know necessarily week 1 who this guy is or the new coaches. Most new coaches who have never coached before, I assume, suck. The coach that's been there, like the James Madison coach who went to UCLA, I assume he's good. Lane Kiffin, we know. In the pros, I know the Harbaughs suck, and I know whoever took over Baltimore, I think from Seattle, I have no idea. I have no idea if he's any good or not. So we got to wait. We know we got Lamar there, but Henry's like, I think I might retire. So it must be a pretty bad coach. So again, don't be fooled by Lamar. He's not good. Well, he won MVP. Really? And why? Because he won the Super Bowl? No. He won a playoff game? No. He's better than Mahomes? No. And why the hell did he win the MVP? Because he could run for a lot of yards. Well, but he's a quarterback. He needs to throw the ball to the receivers. So it's stuff like that. All right. So that is what we're doing betting. We are betting slowly in week 1 because we don't really know. We don't want to take a big risk by betting against UCLA because we know they got a good coach. And then they pull the upset and we're like, fuck, I knew he was going to do. So we want to see it before it happens. So we want to see what's going on, right? And don't get overvalued by the press. Arch Manning still stinks. The guy Moore on Oregon stinks. It's not like, what is it, Dante Moore? Not like he got good. He's stuck at UCLA. He wasn't anything at Oregon. In the big game, he threw a pick 6 the first play, threw 5 interceptions. He's not good in the big games. So why do you think he's the first pick? And how's that going to do? He's going to go, what, to Oakland again? And then, like, everybody, oh, let's bet Oakland. They got Mendoza. Mendoza's not that good. We'll get Dante Moore. He's not that good. Well, how about Arch Manning? Well, he sucks. So what are you doing here? You're taking guys that stink because of the rumors and the selling of the press. Oh, Arch Manning's the first one because his name's Manning, so he must be a good quarterback. Yeah, Peyton wasn't very good, and neither was Eli. So not quite sure. All right, let's look at baseball today. July 31st. Can you believe that? 2:20 is the first game. The Yankees and the Cubbies. We got Cubbies 153 and 9. Will Warren 446 against Omega for the Cubs 372. He's been pitching decently lately. Will Warren went to Southeast Louisiana. What's that, Division 3? Will Warren is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 2-5 his last 7. But it's been weird. His last 6, 5 innings, 5 runs, 2 runs, 6 runs, 1 run, and then he goes shutout. Oh wait, that's 2/3 of an inning, and then he gave up 6 runs in only 3 innings. So this guy stinks. The guy had 16 pitches, 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit, didn't give up a run. So I don't know what that was about. 83 pitches, gave up a run, and then last game, 68 pitches in 3 innings, 6 runs on 6 hits. So he's a pig, and that was against Philly. Omega for the Cubs, a Mr. Fuji guy. He loves rubbing the ball in salt, and then when you hit it, the salt goes in your eyes. And he is 5-2 his last 7. In his last 6 games, 4 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 1, 0, and 0. So he's pitching very well. So here's a play I kind of like. I don't love it. It's not Mizorowski, but you kind of go, but I'm not going to give it as a free play because I don't have enough confidence in the play to play it. Pitt goes to Cincinnati, and here we go. The Scanes man. Pitt 116 and 8. Scanes 367. Hunter Green 729. So Scanes isn't as strong as he was. Yes, Bobby, he is an LSU guy, Paul Scanes. That's why you just get these guys out of college. What are you fucking around with high school guys for? He's 3-1 his last 4. They lost 11-0. He pitched, so his last 6 were 4 runs, 8 runs, and then he got hot, 2 runs, 2 runs, 1 run, and then he gave up 5 runs, 11 strikeouts, gave up 6 hits and 5 runs in 5 innings to the Cubbies, and they lost 11-0. So what are we saying? Scanes gave up 8 runs, and then he went 2-2-1. So now he gave up 5 runs to the Cubbies, and here he goes. So look for him to bounce back. Now let's see. Hunter Green, he's only pitched in 4 games, and he's given up 8 runs, 0, 3, and a 7. So he's not pitching very well. All right, so your free play is going to be Scanes again. We're going to go 3 units. 1, because Hunter Green has only pitched 4 games. And he's not pitched well, and Pitt has this very good offense, so Pitt's going to score a lot, regardless of what Scanes does. But Scanes, coming off of giving up 5 runs, will be pissed and look for a good outing. And Cincinnati really doesn't hit. I would say Pitt wins like 7-0 or something like that. Total on the game is 8. Pitt's 116 and 8. I think the 116 is a joke. Scanes is still Scanes, and he's still capable of throwing a no-hitter every time out, but Hunter Green is just very weak. And against this off, so you also have a very good offense with Pittsburgh. So this is Pitt's A team, Scanes, and then I think Jones. And then when they get down to their bad pitchers, they become an over team because they give up a lot of runs and they score a lot. So we'll go Scanes. That's 3 units if that's your free play. Philadelphia goes to Baltimore. We got Baltimore 111 and 8.5. We got Painter against Young. Painter with a 7.35, and I can't go into Painter. It's giving me an error. I go into Young. I can go to Young. Okay. So for some reason, it doesn't like Painter. Young's won his last 4. 3 of them were under. His last 6, 1 run, 2 runs, 4, 3, 1 and 1. So this is a real good pitcher, but he's fucking with Philadelphia. We can't get Painter. All we know is he's got a 7.36, but we can't get in to see his highlights, his details. So Baltimore should hit this. They looked weak against the Tigers and then won that 10-9 game. When Skubal came out, here they're facing Painter. They should hit him. They are at home. Young's a good pitcher, but here's where you got to be careful. You don't really want to bet against Alabama, and you don't really want to bet Notre Dame. You don't really want to bet against Philadelphia or the Dodgers too often. So just superficially looking at it, I think I have to do this. But I'm not happy with it. See, here's where if you had Sanchez or Zach Wheeler going, this would be a lock under against Young because Young's pitching pretty well. All right, St. Louis at Toronto. Good game here. Toronto 173, 7.5. Lehigh for St. Louis, 3.56 against our man Dylan Cease. 2.47 for Toronto. We like Dylan Cease. And we've got Lehigh is 2-5 his last 7, and all of them under 2, 4, 6. Last 7 games have been under, and therefore his last 7 games, 3 runs, shutout 1, shutout 1 and 2, and he goes about 6 innings. So you're not hitting Lehigh for a lot. Dylan Cease, we know, is an under. He's a good old boy from Georgia. He's won 3 out of his last 4. He's won 6 out of his last 8. He's pitching well. Some unders, some overs. His last 6. 2 runs, 4, 0, 0, 5, and a 0. So this is a tough one because Lehigh's pitching good and Cease is pitching good. So you can't really play the team because you don't know what the expected outcome is. Probably going to be low scoring, but I can't make the expected outcome that, Dylan Cease is going to win because Lehigh throws a lot of good games and vice versa. I can't bet Lehigh because Dylan Cease. We had the game under. It was Dylan Cease against somebody last week, and it was 6-0. Might have been Boston. Anyway. Miami against the JETSs. We got Marino against Namath, a good game. The Mets 121 and 8.5. Junk against Peralta, both with 5 ERAs. Jason Junk, 2 and 4 ERA. A lot of overs. His last 6, 7 runs, 8 runs, 1, 2, 6 and 1. Usually goes about 4 innings. So he is junk. Freddie Peralta. And he's 2 and 5 his last 7. He's a pig. His last 6, 3 runs, 3 runs, 3 runs, 2, 7, and 3. So this guy. So this I will give you as your free play. Let's go JETS over. Now, the reason this is a free play is the over-under is only 8.5. Well, with these 2 pitchers who both kind of suck, I should get more than I should get to 9 runs, which isn't asking a lot here. So that's kind of why I'm going over. Again, you can't play a pitcher because both pitchers stink. And what they do is they give up runs. And then if they give up runs and it's 8.5, we'll get to 9. So that's what we're doing. Arizona at Cleveland. We got Cleveland 136, 8.5. The game's in Cleveland. Bratt for Arizona 6.60 against Tanner Bibby 3.89. Bratt He's only pitched in 4 games starting June 24th. And he's 1 run, 3, 2, and 5. But he's pitching 80-90 pitches the last couple of games. So he is a starter. And he's 2 and 5. So he's pretty bad. Tanner Bibby. He's 3 and 3 his last 6. Shutout 3, 6, 1, 2, 3. So 3 of his 6 games have been 3, 6, and 3. So you don't know with him. Arizona. Cleveland normally plays an under game, normally with very good bullpen. So we will see. But that's where we're at. So I don't love Bibby. Brad, I don't have enough information, but I think Cleveland would win the game, depending on which Bibby we get. See, that's the difference between Scanes and Bibby. Scanes, we know what we're going to get. You're going to struggle to get a hit off of him. With Bibby, you're going to get hits off of him, but you don't know which Bibby shows up, the 0 or the 6. And therefore, it's a lot of risk to take with Bibby versus Scanes. The White Sox against Tampa. Tampa 135, 8.5. We got Fetty 4.67 against Nick Martinez 2.46. Let's see what's going on. We're looking here to see if what's he doing and what his ERA is. He might have been really bad in the beginning, and now he's throwing a bunch of shutouts. He's won his last 5, let's put it that way. 4 of them have been over. And his last 6 have been 2-3, 3-0, 2-3. But he's only pitching 4 innings his last 3 games. So something's wrong with him. Nick Martinez. Now, Nick has won his last 6. Most of them have been under. And he goes more 6 innings. 3 runs, 1-1, 2-1, and 0. All right. Washington and Atlanta. We like this guy. Atlanta 110-9 in Atlanta against Washington, but Griffin's a really good pitcher. 2.76 against Alder 3.98. This is what I was talking about with football. All of a sudden, the guy Cam Rising comes. You never heard of him. He's the 3rd stringer, but then he comes in. That's what this Griffin is for Washington. Never heard of him. But all of a sudden, he comes in, and he's won his last 2, 4, 6, 7. He's 9-1. Never heard of him. All he does is win, though. So we're going to bet him 2, 4, 6. So his last 6 games, and most of them are 7 innings, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then a 3. And they won 5-3 against Arizona. So this guy gives up 1 run pretty consistently. Now, Elder, if he's any good, it's an under. And if he's no good, we're betting Griffin. But this is what we do in football. He's 2 and 4. And his last 6 games, 6, 8, 5, 4, 2, and 2. All right, so here's your 3rd free game, Washington. And I'll go 3 units. So I never know what I'm playing before until I see the pictures. And even then, tonight, I'll look at the scores, and I don't know who I bet on. But I will remember Washington. Pitt, I remember because it was Scanes, and then the JETSs. I probably would take that back because I would rather bet more on Washington and Pittsburgh than on the JETSs, who maybe they hit, maybe they don't. Texas at Houston. Houston 121, 7.5. Evaldi 406 against Hunter Brown 345, who we know is very good, but he's been injured. Nathan Evaldi. Now Nate has won 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 6-1 his last 7 and 6-1 over. In the 6 games, gave up 3 runs, shutout, 3 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs, and 1 run. So he's an over pitcher. We're dealing with the 7.5 total. And he goes, I believe he goes over all the time, right? Does that? Yeah, he goes over. So he's an over pitcher, but he does pitch well. Hunter Brown, and let's see what the Hunter does. He's 3-3 his last six, a couple overs, couple unders, 2 for his last 6 games. Yeah, he came back June 16th, so that's okay. 1 run, 3, 7, 3, 4, and then a shutout against the White Sox. What do we do with this guy? We know he's a good pitcher, capable. He pitched good last game. The others, he's been giving up runs. And again, that's in like 5-6 innings. And Evaldi is an over pitcher. And the total here is 7.5. All right. I know what I'm doing. So because I'm not clear, because Hunter Brown could throw a shutout, I play this for 2 units. If it was a bad pitcher and Evaldi, this would be a 3 or 4 unit play. So you can see the confidence and the risk involved. There's a lot of risk that Hunter Brown throws a shutout. He shouldn't. He hasn't been, but he could. But he's still working his way back. KC, Colorado. We got Colorado. Oh, we got KC 107 and 11, or again with the 11s. KC, who doesn't hit that well. Colorado, we got Waka 361 against Sugar 469. The Sugar Man. He's 3-3 his last 6. I'm talking Waka. All of them unders. And his last 6 have been 1 run, 4, 6, 1, and 2. And, the 6 pops up against the JETSs. The 4 was against Philly, and against Detroit, gave up 2 runs. So that's what you have with him. He went 6-5-4-3, then 1-1, 4-6, 1-2. Probably gives up some runs. Shugano. And the site's cracking up. Well, I can't get in. So the question is, do I want to go over 11? It seems like an over game, but it's a big number, 11. So I don't know. Okay, Milwaukee against California. Drowan for Milwaukee 426, Johnson for California 650. Milwaukee a big favorite 163-9. The game's in California. Milwaukee an A team, good hitting, good pitching. And I can't drill into. Okay, here I got it. Shane Drohan. And he's 4-2 his last 6. 5 of them are under. The last 6 games, shutout 2, 3, 3, 3, and a 5. So he's been giving up runs. 163-9 at California. Ron Johnson, running back from Michigan. He's 1-4 his last 5. And the last 6 have been shutout 3, 5, 3, 1, and an 8. At 8 against the 49ers. Yeah, there's a whole lot of 5s he gives up, this Johnson guy. What did I say with Milwaukee droning? I go back in because I forget what I was looking for. He's 4-2. He gives up some runs. Hard to say. Probably is an over, but it's a risky game to go over with because California doesn't score. And the drone in, he's been hot. I would say Milwaukee will win this game. If I choose to accept it, which I don't. This is a game to pass on. Let's see if we got Shigano pops up. Yeah. Okay. Now he's a Fuji guy from Japan, and he's won 6 of his last 7. He's been hot. The last 6, 3 runs, 8 runs, 1, 7, 3, and 2. So he does give up. So I see where they're getting the over of 11. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that anyway. Detroit at Oakland, Detroit 137 and 11, which is interesting when their pitchers to be determined. So we don't know who the pitcher is against Springs. Detroit blew the 7-0 lead with Skubal against fucking Baltimore, who had guys that are not major league players. It cracks me up what they're looking for. We're looking for spin rate and exit velocity. How hard did he hit the ball? Well, the fact he hit home runs doesn't matter. It's how hard did he hit the home runs. Just incredibly stupid analytics that are terrible, and they're fucking these teams up. And that's why so many batters can't hit. They're not even hitting 200, and they think that's okay. This is the scary part. Well, he doesn't hit 200. Well, we don't care about batting average. Oh, really? And how are you going to win any games if you don't have any hits? This is about hitting the ball and scoring runs, and you don't have anybody that can hit, and you think that's okay. Unbelievable. All right, 3-3 is Jeffrey Springs for Oakland. A lot of overs. Last 6 games, 6 runs, 3, 6, 6, 2, and 5. But we have a TBD by the Tigers. Now we know Skubal pitched. Casey Mize should be next in the rotation, I would bet him if he pitched, but I don't know if he's pitching. Again, with the trade deadline, they might trade him. He's a free agent at the end of the year. I don't understand these teams. He's a rental. What does that mean? Well, he doesn't. His contract ends this year, so sign him. Why aren't you just signing the guy if he doesn't have a contract? Well, he wants too much. Don't pay him. Pay him less. You don't know what he wants. Oops. Are you saying that he's going to go free agent because he's so good that nobody wants him? All I can say is baseball is one screwed up sport. All these rental players, it just screws it up. You want to root for your team, but when the players keep switching, it's very hard. All right, so I got to pass until I know this is a 9:40 game. Depending who it is, if it's Casey Mize, I'd bet Detroit. If it's one of these pigs pitching like Joe Flaherty or Montero or Valdez, I would play the game over. Over is 11. All right, the 49ers against San Diego, the Chargers. San Diego 142, 8.5. Weisenhunt 480 against B. Rodriguez 000. Sounds like a bullpen guy. Weisenhunt pitched 3 games. So I got nothing on him. Gave up 2 runs, and 4 runs in 5 innings. Goes about 80. So he gives up some runs from what we can see. Rodriguez, Bradley. Who the fuck's named Bradley? It's either Bradley or Bagley or who calls their kid Bradley? What is that? From Mars? What kind of name is that? Well, we couldn't spell Bradley. We added a G to it. I love the way the names are. It's not that hard. It's David, David, not 3 V's or 4 I's or whatever. All right. This guy's a bullpen guy. See, with a name like Braggley, you end up not being a starter. 2.33 ERA. So it's a bullpen game against Weiss and Hunt. So we got to pass. Boston, good game. The Dodgers, ooh, okay. The Dodgers, Boston. The Dodgers 124, 8.5. We got the Ranger on the mound for Boston. He made us money last time. He won 6-1 over Toronto. Yeah, he was the Dylan Cease guy. He's 5-1 his last 6. 2, 4, 6. 2 runs, 0. 3 runs, 3 runs, 3 runs, 0. So you're not getting a lot on him. Eduardo Henrique for the Dodgers from Venezuela. Excuse me. He's won his last 3, and he had lost his last 3 before then. And he's a bullpen guy. All right, so we don't care. His ERA is 2.79. So we got a bullpen guy for the Dodgers, and we got Ranger for Boston. And I'm tempted to bet Boston as a live dog here. Plus 115. The Dodgers are the Dodgers because of the Dodgers. Ranger being a lefty. Freddie Freeman probably won't play because he's left-handed. He can't hit a lefty because it's a lefty pitching. I'm going to circle Boston, but I'm not going to play it. I got to be careful because they are playing the Dodgers, but I do like Ranger here. I like Ranger most times. Minnesota against Seattle is our last game. Seattle, big 166 and 7.5 in Seattle. Travel for Minnesota. The Zebbers, Zebby Matthews. How do you name your kid Zebby from North Carolina? Let's call him Zebby. Let's have a kid. Oh, let's name him Zebby. I think that's a good name. I don't know, boy or a girl. He's lost his last 3, his last 6, 1 run, 4, 4, or no, 2 runs, 1 run, 4, 4, 10, and a 2. But even there, he gave up 10 and he bounced back with a 2-inning, 2-run game. So pretty weak. Looks like either an over or Bryce Miller. Let's see. Bryce Miller, Seattle's lost. He's 1-5 his last 6. And he's given up 1 run, 3 runs, shutouts, 6 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs. So he's giving up some runs. So that's what we'll do here. All right, I'd give you another free play, but I already gave you 3, and that's the limit. I do have buyers, and they don't want me to give all the games away. Then why would they buy? Does this not look like a softball jersey? This, whoever this guy is, number 12. I mean, it looks like black, and it looks like Halloween. It looks like a softball thing. All right, so that is that's baseball. So I've given you Scanes 3 units, the Mets over 8.5. 2 units, in Washington with their ace going 3 units. So we're starting to find 8. Washington's got an ace. Cincinnati. Philly's got 3 aces. So the Dodgers really don't have an ace. I don't think they're going to win it. I think Milwaukee, I don't think anybody's going to hit Mizorowski, and then the other couple pitchers. You're not hitting Milwaukee. It's up to the manager if he fucks around and pulls Mizorowski, or he lets him pitch the full 9. If he pitches the whole 9, the Dodgers aren't going to win that game for sure. All right, so we are going to look. Okay, we got MMcgwire yesterday. Gold beats treasuries. All that's saying is there's more countries are buying more gold than they are buying treasuries. That's all that means. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but the first about 10 minutes is very critical. He basically is giving us a $8,000 to $10,000 figure and kind of explains what's happening, that we're not getting this big boost from the physical market as we thought we would.
Number 3, canola oil. If you can. Gold now having overchecked. Gold now having
Okay, so MMcgwire, which we know and trust pretty much. So he's going to explain what's going on, which is what we've been looking for, is why now that we have the physical market is gold at 10,000, because we know the paper market, there's 4 million tons. There's 4 million tons of gold in the paper market and only 200,000 in the physical. And if we're doing physical in the physical world we live, the gold has to be much, much higher. And I just stated like 15,000 minimum. And he's saying right away 10 and then look for 30 or 40. So we're on the same page. All right. So let's look at Mark. If you have questions, comments, let me know. Very positive for us gold people. I'm already saying it, so he's just repeating what I'm saying. But he's giving us more definition of what's going on with the physical market, which is what we need, which I don't have access to, so I can't really talk about it other than when he tells me that the market's for that is the market is going to a physical market, and that's what we want. Okay.
We're taking U.S. Treasuries as the top reserve asset.
It's early days, I guess, into the rollout. Can you bring us up to speed as to what you're seeing as the, because we've got this physical over here and we've got the paper to physical war is playing out right in front of us. Can you bring us up to date on what you're seeing?
Hey, thanks, Shane, for getting all the questions together. Hey, it's great to be with you. And let's have a look at all this stuff, because I tell you what, if I was going to title this episode anything, it would be Gold Revaluation and the Return of Monetary Scrutiny, because there's a lot going on here. So we're going to examine the rapidly closing and the yet still unrealized disconnect between current highly leveraged COMEX-driven end of month, and that's the Fed BIS mark-to-market event, which we're going through now. So just look at that action, and we'll look at it in the charts later. And that's good. And we're going through that into tomorrow's first notice day, which we'll explain later, and Friday's end of the month last. What we see is the last kick at the can, which is making a substantial flow of it's hiding a substantial flow of unleveraged 400-ounce physical bars moving into the Hong Kong SGE system. And why this synthetic market overshoot is actually going to backfire in a very significant way as August unfolds and a rising physical floor begins to assert itself. And also directly related to this historic bearish paper gold versus bullish physical gold battle, and by no coincidence, we're going to look at the CME's desperate attempt to stay relevant and how that's also going to accelerate its demise. However, let's keep the questions flow sequential, and let's start by connecting the dots from our last episode. It was recorded 2 weeks ago on the 15th of July, and let's look at what we are actually seeing now. Now, following last Friday's launch of the global-facing Hong Kong SGE gold clearing settlement pricing and delivery architecture, Besant's sudden focus on integrity of US gold assets is unlikely to be coincidental. Now that China is openly building a physically anchored alternative to the traditional London-New York paper pricing axis, which is forcing renewed scrutiny of America's official gold reserves. Now, as we noted in our last episode, last Friday's 24th of July launch of the GC-connected Hong Kong gold clearing system is a material development. And there was very little doubt that the White House has been monitoring this state very closely. And given that China now has the infrastructure required to challenge their previously captive COMEX LBMA price setting regime, which is about to facilitate a global central bank gold revaluation process, ultimately leading to a revaluation event outside their control. This is definitely on the front burner. And this has undoubtedly put Fort Knox back in the spotlight, which is what prompted Besant to announce that US Treasury gold reserves were, and everyone's heard the statement, present and accounted for, quote. But the real market question is actually bigger than that. It's whether the gold is there at all, and it's whether America's official gold should now be independently audited, revalued closer to market reality, and treated as a strategic reserve asset in a rapidly shifting monetary order. These things are all on the front burner. And that question is becoming much more urgent as the PBOC moves to exert greater control over global price discovery. The LBMA COMEX unallocated fudge factor, where gold swaps and leases can remain on a central bank balance sheet, it now puts the US Treasury gold directly in the line of fire. And without a full audit of the counterparty risk tied to these gold loans, the Fed will face an even larger upswell of repatriation demands and have no choice but to clear the air. And it is imminent. The questions are literally being brought forward by the fact that pricing is being set outside of their control. And
okay, so Besant goes to the Fort Knox and says everything's there, and nobody believes him. And we need an audit, and you have to prove it's ours and not China's. So that's why you need the audit. Let me see the 8,000 tons of gold, and whose is it? And is it ours? Or, oh wait, it says it belongs to China. And that's really so Besant can say his crap. We still don't believe it's there. And if it is there, we still don't believe it's ours. And that's it. So again, and the reason we haven't seen the physical boom like we're waiting for, the 10,000, 20,000, is because it's still being separated, right? It's China is now going to price gold, but COMEX doesn't want to give that up. JP Morgan, no, we'll price it. China's like, no, we'll do it. We got all the gold. We want to price our gold. That'd be like having our Mantle card, and yet, well, we'll just take the price that's in eBay. No, it's going to be the Chinese price. No, it's my card. I want the price. It says 20 grand in eBay. That's what it's worth. No, we're going to change the eBay price on you. And that's kind of what it is. They have it, but they can't do it. John C., is Indiana good? So what we're looking at is the getting it settled that China's going to take over the gold price. That's what we want. And that's what we're waiting for. And then we had this month-end crap, how the banks settle everything the last couple of days of the month. That's why it's been going down, is that. So next week should be the beginning of August. Should not be, again, we'll get to the China pulling in the gold, Africa going on the gold standard, and everything else. Yes, Fauci should be in jail. All the government should be in jail. All right.
A public bar-by-bar audit would restore some credibility, but it would not answer the bigger question, is how should the 147.3 million ounces of US Treasury gold be valued? And that's a big question. And trust has already been dented. Concerns over vault integrity, intensified in 2013. We looked at it in more detail. And this was when the Fed was unable to repatriate Deutsche Bank, Bundesbank gold in a timely manner. And it was no coincidence that the PBOC measurably stepped up selling US Treasuries for gold priced in dollars at that time. And since then, foreign central banks have become increasingly wary of the US London vaulting system and the rehypothecation risks that are embedded in it, especially as the double counting loophole that allows lease gold to remain on a central bank's balance sheet. The optics really worsened when the Fed refused to even allow Deutsche Bundesbank to inspect their US storage gold assets. They were in the Treasury vaults. It would have been easy enough. And these reserves have not faced an independent third-party audit since Nixon ended the dollar gold peg in 1971. So bottom line, Fort Knox is no longer just a vault story. It's a verification, it's a valuation and trust story. And in a world of financial stress, de-dollarization, and you've got shifting monetary architecture, America's official gold reserves are moving back onto the market's radar. And the valuation issue is where this gets really interesting for markets. With no auditable data on how many competing ownership claims would be needed to be reconciled, any revaluation estimate is actually pure speculation at this point, but the floor is undoubtedly significantly higher than current prices as we see being played out today. And we're recording this on Wednesday, for release tomorrow on Thursday. So, and also we have FOMC late.
So, in other words, the U.S. isn't going to. If it is the U.S., they're not going to. They can't sell it at $40 an ounce. When we see this $4,000 an ounce, which we know is more like $20,000 an ounce. So, this is what they're struggling with. Is even if they have it, you can't value it at $40 an ounce. What's the point? So, what you're going to do now that maybe it's there, maybe it's not, because Besson said it is, doesn't mean it's there, doesn't mean it's ours, could be China's, and then what's the value you're going to put on it? $40, $4,000, $10,000. So we'll see.
We'll look at that in a minute, but obviously this is a perfect gaming day for the paper markets. Now, with current estimates, revaluation, where is it? Current estimates actually vary between 10 and 50,000, depending on, and credible people, talking about between 10 and 50. More immediately, at a minimum, based on an upswell of delivery demand and tightening supply at current prices, liquidity providers have raised their minimum estimation to 8 to 10,000 range. And once
8 to 10,000, our gold just doubled. On its way to between 10 and 50,000. So it's going to come out at 8 to 10, and we're going to be happy. And then it's going to move up to near 50. And we'll be even more happy. This is why we're ahead of the game. This is why I explain it. The ship's sinking, you've got to be in the lifeboat. That's the lifeboat, and it's the only lifeboat. Bitcoin's not a lifeboat. Bonds are not a lifeboat, and the stock market's not a lifeboat. So we know that's where gold's going. 8 to 10 now, up to 50 soon. We have China and Russia on the gold standard, India coming, and Saudi Arabia. All these countries at war need gold to pay for things. And then we've got the whole continent of Africa going gold back. How many countries are there? 50, 60 countries, all going gold back. So this is the key to it. So high demand, because every country wants it, because they're all dumping the dollar because it's not worth anything. And then they can't increase supply. That's it. There's 200,000 tons. Even though there's demand for 5 million tons, there's only supply for 200,000. So then it becomes trading. I want it. You want it. I'm going to bid it up. No, I want it. I'm going to bid it up. And then in a physical world, as we're moving into, you see $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 gold very easily because there's too many players wanting what you cannot just invent. I can make another shirt. I can't make gold. I got to dig it out of the ground, and it's dug. And 99% of it's dug. There might be a new gold mine. It'll have very little impact because of the demand so overwhelming. And it's still extremely limited, 200,000 tons. That's the key.
Revalue, and that's just the initial stage. And whether that gets done over a weekend is open to debate, possibly. But once revalued, as gold strengthens the asset side of sovereign balance sheet, it gives the Fed a powerful incentive to align with other central banks, including the PBOC, in managing a controlled upward gold price adjustment. And to provide sufficient liquidity, gold would have to be revalued significantly higher than in the 4,000 range where it is today. I mean, if you divide the 40 trillion, or close to 40 trillion of US Treasury debt, and you get $150,000 an ounce. However, the mid-band of the 10 to 50K estimates, which are coming from a range of liquidity providers and well hooked up people, the mid-range is a more realistic $30,000. And this revaluation process has begun. Now, this Financial Times.
So, if you want to buy a house, the value of the house is 500,000. In monopoly money goes to zero. Gold's now 30,000 an ounce, but the value of the house in gold might be $60,000, $70,000 in gold, and hence that's where I get the 2 ounces buys you the new house. You got to ignore this $500,000 monopoly money. That's in these worthless dollars. It's 500,000. Same thing with Coca-Cola. It's $3 for a 2-liter. In monopoly money, in gold, you wouldn't even use an ounce of silver to pay for the Coke. It would be like 1/10 of an ounce of silver to pay for the Coke, because the ounce. Now, he doesn't say what the silver price will be, but if we got $30,000 gold, we've got to have $5,000 to $10,000 silver. So we will be happy campers coming up. We see everything's moving, everything's in order. Here we go. China says, fuck you. Even if we have the money in Fort Knox, which we do not have 8,000 tons, even if we did, it still has to be revalued. There's 8,000 tons does not affect the demand or supply. That's included in the 200,000. Who has it doesn't matter. 200,000 includes the 8,000 tons the U.S. has. So we're either going to pay off our debt with it, or it's China's, and they get the 8,000 tons. But we don't own the 8,000 tons. Everybody thinks big government sucks. Well, big government should never be. We can't afford big government. How do you pay the government? Print money. Your money's fucked. Any way you look at it, unless it's gold backed, your money's fucked or it's getting fucked. Every country's like this, except for BRICS, who is going on the gold standard. They're not fucked. Their dollar will remain strong. And you just raise the value of gold, and then you have so many dollars. So if you have $1 trillion in gold, you can print $1 trillion a dollar. And the idea is you can go to the bank and get gold with your money. And that keeps the value of the money. You don't overprint it. So you have to have a limited government because you can't afford to pay all these idiots, which most of them are. So yeah, big government. That's why you got to have small government. You have to have low taxes because you want the economy working and you want the government out of the economy. You have, you got to have gold-backed currency. You got to have stable laws that protect everybody. And that's another problem we have. All right.
Piece highlights how global central banks have lost trust in storing their physical gold in New York or London, and following the past 4 months of geopolitical uncertainty, they're accelerating efforts to repatriate sovereign assets. And with gold now having overtaken US Treasuries as the top reserve asset, as trust in dollar-based systems weakens, the shift confirms that gold is being treated as a strategic sovereign asset, not just a reserve holding. Now, this structural revaluation theme dates back to 2014, when the head of the Shanghai Gold Exchange stated at an LBMA conference that gold was being consumed in the East, but still priced in the West. And that wasn't talk. It was the starting gun. China understood that the gap between the paper price and the physical value really began quietly absorbing underpriced Western benchmark gold from a market still dominated by unallocated cash-settled flows. In a clear illustration of Western market arrogance, his comments were underestimated at precisely the time that the LBMA was navigating the defensive, cartel-driven $600 sell-off that followed the Deutsche Bank 2013 delivery default, as you can see on this chart here, which was on the 1st of April. The White House orchestrated a bullion bank bailout. And remember, it was a Sunday meeting. They called all the bullion banks together, and they instigated a bailout prompted by the LBMA member, that was the ABN AMRO's inability to meet very similar bullion repatriation demands, cash settling client bullion accounts. That sparked a redemption request cycle that spread like wildfire across the LBMA bullion banks and extended through to the end of 2015, as you can see here on this chart. And no prizes for who was on the long side of this sell-off. Perhaps the $50 to $112 per ounce SGE premiums and massive ETF outflows provides just a small clue. Now, the BIS reclassification of gold as a first-year asset on the 1st of January 2023, that made London fixed gold has since become increasingly relevant as T+1 NSFR deliverable collateral. Whereas we have paper diluted events, the BIS, the NSFR compliance forced anything offered at the fixes to be T+1 deliverable. This event provided China the trigger it needed to rotate first-tier US Treasury exposure into first-tier physical gold. And it then moved to take delivery of almost all of the 3 to 5 tons. We've been talking about this for years, 3 to 5 tons priced at the daily fixes. This is physical metal still being priced off a paper-heavy structure where we have 600 to 800 tons of unallocated, cash-settled gold changing hands daily across really what is a structurally short set of COT books, commercial books, bullion bank books. The largest percentage of these daily deliveries flowed out of, off the grid, completely off the grid as monetary gold, never to return. And when it is revealed, and people will no longer wonder how it was possible for the PBOC to have accrued 40,000 to 45,000 tons of Western physical gold. I mean, even some of the bullion banks are talking about 30,000 tons. But this is a much more realistic number based on our very, very well-connected liquidity providers that face those markets, bridge those markets.
So 40,000 tons of China central bank and shadow bank. There's the other 30,000 tons is in the people. The people are buying gold. They put it in their savings accounts. You can put physical gold in a savings in China. And so a lot of people, they don't trust the stock market. They don't trust the real estate market after what happened to Evergrande. So it ends up where they have another 30,000, 35,000. That's how we get to the 80,000. So the bank itself has 40, 45, and the people have 30. So 75, 80,000. Same thing in Russia. Same thing in India. Most of these, the banks have so much, and then the people, and a lot of it's jewelry, and then it's the coins that we have.
Now, physical gold accumulations really support the PBOC's broader mandate to insulate Chinese investors from the destabilizing influence of COMEX-led Western gold volatility, which has historically created a negative backwash into China's domestic market. They didn't want that. And by restricting access to highly leveraged and externally influenced speculative channels within China, the PBOC was reinforcing its long-standing objective, encouraging Chinese citizens to accumulate physical gold as a safe haven asset backed up by the PBOC to appreciate against debt-backed fiat currencies. They have kept that promise since 2010, when they first started encouraging citizens to buy gold around about $1,000. Now, against this backdrop, it's no coincidence that China's largest gold ETF, which is the Yuan Weifu Gold ETF, that has overtaken the Pine Bridge CSI 300 stock ETF. That's a stock-based ETF. So the gold ETF now claims the top Chinese investment asset. And this is by design and by encouragement. And taking control of the global gold and silver markets is the bedrock of China's rapid build-out of national resilience system, designed really to absorb severe external shocks from sanctions, blockades, supply chain collapses, to natural disasters, and increasingly risks of a major war. That's not to forget, China is a military superpower and has absorbed lessons from the Russian and Iranian theaters, really to step up, insulating itself from dollar hegemony. And as we discussed last time, a gold-backed yuan RMB is an integral component of building Fortress China, a Sun Tzu-style strategy, really for a state preparing not only to deter future conflict with the US, but also to function through prolonged crisis and extreme disruptions, which we are seeing now. Now, through gold, China is actually moving the price discovery game east. So synced with cornering physical gold pricing and consumption, here is more evidence China is accelerating its de-dollarization strategy by cutting panda bonds costs, boosting offshore yuan liquidity, and encouraging foreign borrowers to raise RMB funding. Bearing in mind, RMB is convertible to gold. And this message is clear. Beijing wants deeper yuan capital markets, less reliance on the dollar system, and a stronger alternative reserve asset base as confidence in US Treasury weakens. Now, it really needs to be underscored that Hong Kong is not just another gold venue, which seems to be what some of the mainstream has been talking about. It marks the commencement of global-facing structural reset. China has built Eastern clearing, pricing, vaulting, and physical delivery architecture outside London, New York paper access. The Hong Kong SGE link expanded vaulting capacities and Bloomberg-backed HAU rolling physical price reference, running all the way during the day, directly challenges the two benchmark local London COMEX XAU benchmark fixes, which is why we're seeing premiums at those fixes. And this is the most bullish structural reset in gold market history, because China's Eastern gold clearing, pricing, settlement, and delivery system operates outside the London-New York paper axis. Now, the Hong Kong-Shanghai Gold Exchange link expanded vaulting and the Bloomberg-backed HAU physical price reference for deliverable RMB gold futures physically backed gold futures directly challenges the local London COMEX diluted XAU benchmark. I don't think it just seems to be that it's amazing to me that the mainstream aren't all over this. And with FX Gold NSFR compliant and T+1 deliverable at the London fixes, this HAU XAU arbitrage window is going to force the paper to physical gap to close very, very fast. So to accommodate this, the PBOC also removed restrictions on gold flows between Shanghai and Hong Kong. And that turns western-facing SGE, the western-facing SGE gold corridor, into the deepest physical liquidity pool in the global marketplace. So the HAU price gives institutions, which is what they've attracted, a physically deliverable over-the-counter settlement reference, live, clear evidence that China is building the plumbing to price, finance, and mobilize physical gold across Asia, and then also globally. Now, for traders and by osmosis for investors, it is a market structure shift towards the world's largest physical demand region. And as liquidity settlement and deliveries move east, gold is being pulled away from a Western paper pricing model and towards an Asian physical reserve asset model. That is bullish for price. It's bullish for available physical premiums. And it's bullish for the long-term monetary re-rating of gold. And the key point, the ongoing drain of local London physical liquidity has most recently been marked completely missed because of the PBOC's clamp down on Chinese speculative positioning. Really, this physical liquidity inflows have actually been hidden by this process, and that policy flush created visible downside pressure on spot gold, which Western derivative traders have continued to misread as bearish. And I can see today, yet again. And instead of seeing a controlled washout of speculative length, which is really what was happening, they've added unbacked COMEX shorts into a tightening physical market. That is disastrous, ultimately. Meanwhile, the LBMA 400-ounce bar drain remains in force, what it's doing is restricting LBMA COMEX credit capacity to lend fractionalized metal to these spec shorts. And this is just as T+1 delivery pressures is tightening the noose. This is all happening. It's masked by this end of month BIS squaring event. Now, this month of August is where the bearish paper leverage really collides with the bullish physical demand. Central banks and sovereigns have kept buying through the full 30% sell-off as speculative longs were fully flushed, and then shorts were drawn in. That's given them something to take the other side of. And this is exactly the setup that the bullion banks and well-connected institutions have also been capitalizing on into weaker paper price action, taking the long side of speculators into tightening physical supplies. It's really simple. The trade setup is actually hidden in plain sight. China is opening a globally accessible physical gateway into the expanding SGE corridor through Singapore. We've got Africa, Saudi Arabia, Latin America. These are the biggest hubs. All of them are gold-centric, and they're all being prepared for integration. And at the same time, and this is going to surprise, it won't just be Hong Kong. When these others come on stream, similarly, we're going to need bullion to stock into those areas. At the same time, Beijing's already established yuan clearing coverage across every major gold trading hub. The rails are already in place. I just can't believe that it's not been seen by more people. And to understand...
We have. So what that means in English, which he has a hard time talking in, is the demand is huge. And you cannot increase supply. You can't make more gold. It comes out of the ground. But what's happening? Everybody realizes they want to get out of the dollar, and they got to realize we need new money. And here's gold, which you can't print, and you don't have to worry about the value going down. But we need a much higher gold price so we can all run our countries. Africa, Latin America, Saudi, China, Russia, India, everybody is going there. They're all getting the fuck out of the dollar because everybody knows the dollar's worthless. So again, in summary, you've got Bassett going to Fort Knox saying, "Oh, I saw it. It's there. So there, it's good." No, you got to audit it. You got to see whose it is. There could be gold there, but it's probably China's more likely. There's not 8,000 tons. And the fact he said it's good doesn't mean anything. Yep, it's all set. It's there. I saw it. Yep. Did you audit it? No. Can we see it? No. But it's true. Trust me, because first of all, we'll trust you. You're a George Soros guy. Why would we not trust you as you're bankrupting the country? All these wars are terrible. Europe's fucked with all these wars. They're paying the Ukraine. Where are you getting the money? We're printing it. So what happens to the value of your dollar? It goes to zero. How much gold do you have? Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal. We know the UK doesn't have any. So when they want to fund these wars and build these missiles, but the money is worthless. So this is the problem. So this is very good news for us. I'll stop it here. We can do it's got another 20 minutes. We can do that tomorrow. But I just wanted to share that with you. It's very strong, happy news for us who are waiting on the gold price to go up. It'll be revalued at 8 to 10. When that happens, I think will be soon. 8 to 10,000, and then on its way to 30 to 50,000. And we'll all be happy campers then. Then we'll take a nice vacation, a hard-earned vacation. But everything's good. The demand is huge. So the only thing that really stops the price is no demand. So when you go to the grocery store and you see Coke 2 for $5, it's because there's no demand at $3. All you see is the demand 2 for $5. So prices go down when there's no demand. Prices go down when people don't have money, or when all the prices go up and people can't afford it. But you never have that problem with gold and silver. Again, it's very limited. You cannot print it. All this paper, COMEX, bullshit paper is all ending because it's all going to China and BRICS and Africa and Latin America. It's all going, the gold's all going there. And the demand is huge, and there's not enough supply, which means price has to go through the moon. And if the U.S. has any gold in Fort Knox, which I doubt, it's all probably China's, and they're not going to, so China will just take it. But you can't believe Scott Bessent. You can't believe the government. When has the government ever told us the truth? Never. Why is there a war? Oh, we're winning the war. We're not winning the war with Iran. Iran's killing us. Oh, Ukraine's winning the war with Russia. No, Russia's up 73-0. Russia's killed them. Russia's got way too many weapons and way too many men, and Putin is very intelligent and a good army that NATO has no army. The Ukraine, they're using CIA agents and different agents like Mission Impossible, like Ethan Hunt's there, trying to defend Ukraine, which is just very corrupt. A lot of Nazis there, and they have really there's no chance. Russia's not losing this war. They could nuke. I mean, a nuke's not always like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I watched 24, and they nuked, and it was a 10-mile area. So you don't have to nuke the whole country out of existence. You could just do a lesser of a nuke. So they use nukes generally like they do gold. It's gold going down. No, it's paper gold going down. And it's very frustrating that all these idiots I get hear on the news don't understand that. Oh, gold's down. It must be there. Even Egon made a mistake of saying, Well, silver's for orphans and widows. It's a very risky, highly volatile market. That's paper gold he got, not physical. And that goes over his head. It's paper that's doing that. Gold was 5,600. It's now 4,000. Isn't that not volatile? But not in the physical world that we live in. The physical world, it's not volatile at all. That price is probably 15 to 20,000. It's probably never moved. And once we see this new physical market, we'll see 15, 20, $25,000 gold. That's why I tell you, buy it now. It's on the sale of the century at 4,000. It was the sale of the century when I first told you about it at 1,700. Silver was 2025. Sale of the century. Now it's about 58. And that's a joke. We see where it's headed. When gold hits 10,000, silver hits 2. When gold hits 50,000, silver's going to hit 7 or 8,000. You can pick it up for 50. Yeah, go buy Bitcoin. Yeah, see how that works. And it's yours, and you don't pay tax on it going up. Oh, but it has no cash flow, like I showed you that idiot yesterday. Well, there's no cash flow in gold. Don't need cash flow. I'll get the price is going to go up. That's my cash flow. So I buy it at 2 and it's worth 4. Is that not cash flow? Or I don't understand cash flow. Cash flow is the value of it going up. And it went up 2,000. And I didn't pay a nickel in tax. You're paying tax on your cash flow if it's a business. Anyway, so good news from MMcgwire. Free play today. Pitt take Skanes 3 units. The Mets go over 8.5 is 2 units, and Washington is 3 units. I like Boston with Rangers Warriors against the Dodgers. Nobody, but I'm gonna lay off. Maybe you play the Tigers over if it's a bad pitcher. If it's a good pitcher, you might take the Tigers. But after what happened, they have the worst manager I've ever seen in my life. They don't even know what they're doing. They're just looking at analytics and well, he's got a good spin weight. So I can only let him pitch 90 pitches a game every 5 days. Well, maybe let's not do the spin rate because that's not important. Can the guy throw strikes? Can the guy get the ball over? And the spin rate, I'm sure, is good enough because we don't know where the spin rate came from, that it has to reach a certain value. All right. I think that's it. Don't know. Paid rent today and looking forward to the gold finally making its move, because that was the question I'm asking is why, now that we're on the physical July 24th, why aren't we seeing a physical price? And that's what I wanted. And Mark had that answer, and that's what I wanted everybody to see. So we get a feel of, okay, it's just COMEX doesn't want to give up, but it's going to have to. So we're moving into the Shanghai price. Right now, we're still in the COMEX price. Even though China's gone physical, it's still Japan, Korea, some other countries are still looking at that price. And, they're still moving the ball when the East has it at 6 o'clock at night. They're the ones moving it. China's strictly physical now. So we're going to have a nice, finally, price on our gold and our silver. It will start moving. And it's very simple. We have huge demand and you cannot increase supply. And the price has to go up because the people who want it are going to pay more for it because they want it. I really want this mantle card. I really want it. Well, it goes for 10 grand and Joe's going to buy it. Well, I don't care. I really want it. I'll pay 15,000 for it. But Joe wants it. He'll pay 20. And then Phil wants it for 25. There's demand for it. There's only one card, and people who want it will pay more for it. That's the idea of low supply. All these people not only want the gold, but need the gold. They have to have it because their monopoly money is worthless. They're holding dollars or euros. They're worthless. So they have to buy gold at any price. And these guys have billions of dollars. It's not worth anything, but they have it. So they can trade it for the physical, and that's what they'll do. And any price. So at 10 grand, they will be buying. At 15 grand, they will be buying. So that's good for us. Because hopefully we're in at 2 grand. I know I am. Hopefully you guys are, or buying your silver at 58, 59. I know somebody was on yesterday, and I thought about that, going, buy the quarter ounce. It's $1,000. Buy the quarter ounce, the 1/10 of an ounce. When it hits 50, yeah, you'll be pretty happy. At 40, your quarter ounce will be worth 10 grand that you just paid $1,000 for it. That's why you buy gold over silver. Silver will move, but not like gold. Gold moves in thousands. Silver moves in hundreds. So that's the key to it. So that's it. Is Indiana good? Yeah, Indiana is going to be fine. They'll be a top team, as will Ohio State, as will Miami, as will Notre Dame. Look for Notre Dame to be motivated. They didn't make the playoff. Texas Tech, we're not sure. Utah, coaches at Michigan. Michigan will be better. Utah should be good with Devin Dampier. BYU should be good. So, you're solid 10 to 15 teams. We know Georgia, Alabama, LSU should be better with the coach. Mississippi, we're not sure because they don't have the coach. They got Trinidad and Tobago as their quarterback. So we will see. But that, yeah, it's hard for me to answer Indiana when I'm in the middle of Mark McGwire. I don't want to lose the focus on the Mark McGwire. So anyway, I'll watch it from here, and we'll talk more about Mark tomorrow, but at least we know we're headed for 8 to 10 grand very soon, and 50 grand, not too much farther than that. And he's giving it on good advice that he gets. So we're not guessing here. It's not, well, I think it will. I hope, like Bitcoin, well, it'll go to 1 million. This is factual, and Bitcoin is not real. Bitcoin is not limited. And what are you going to do with Bitcoin? You don't even know you have it. It's not real. You can't even see it. How can you put a lot of money into something you can't see when you can buy gold and see it? So to put your money into, that's why I say you sell your Bitcoin, go into gold. You made money at poker, go into gold. You made money betting football, go into gold. That's what I do. You just go right into gold with it. It's a no-brainer. And then you just sit back and watch gold go up because heavy demand and low supply. That's the key functions that I look for in football. What are the functions? And the same thing here in gold. The demand's huge. The supply cannot be increased. You got to dig it out of the mine, and all the mines are dug. There's a little bit of a mine left, but that's it. China's got a mine, they keep it. Russia's got mines, they keep it. Doesn't hit the market. They go, hey, Putin, we found another 1,000 tons of gold. Yeah, put it into my swimming pool. Come on, back the truck up in the pool, into my house. He's got a gold train. He's got a gold boat. That kind of guy. All right, anything else? So football, we talked heavily about that. Again, you're trying to gather data to know what you have. Is Indiana a good team is the question. I'm saying yes. The coach is still there. The quarterback's better, and the defense should still be the same system and good defense. I wouldn't think Indiana would go down much. It'll actually be better because now they've won the title, and now they have the confidence they didn't have. So last year they didn't have it. Beating Ohio State was huge. Beating Miami was huge. I mean, these are professional teams they're beating. So now this year we'll see. But they should be very good. And it's the coach. If the coach goes, Indiana's gone. That's why you got to keep an eye on the coach. So Utah will go down a little. Michigan goes up with the coach. But Utah's coach is going to be the defensive coordinator, which we saw Lombardi leave, and the defensive coordinator took over, and he was not a head coach. He couldn't motivate the team the way Lombardi did. Plus, a lot of guys when Lombardi left probably retired, and that was a problem. So anyway, that's what's going on. I wish you a good day. I'm not even going to check the paper gold and silver right now. There's no point in it. We know where it's headed. We don't know when. He doesn't really say, oh, next week. I will rewatch it to see if he says any type of time, but it should be happening very soon. We know it's going to happen. Let's put it that way. The boat's sinking, but I can't tell you the time. The gold is going to run, but I can't say when. Comex is going to fight it. Again, it's the end of the month, so we expect gold to go down, but this should be the last time. Then it starts getting into more of a physical run, and you won't see the end of the month drop. The banks are in trouble. The U.S. is in trouble. Canada's in trouble. Everybody in the Euro system's in trouble. Germany, France, Italy, and the UK. I've shown you they're all going bankrupt. They all have big problems. Too much debt, too many retirees, too many immigrants that are ruining everything. And it's not good. Bad leaders. So keep that in mind. All right. Anything else? John Z, anybody else out there? So again, keep that in mind. Gold we will be very, very happy with our gold and silver. Do not sell it now. I sold a half ounce because I had to get monopoly money to help with some bills. I'm a little bit higher than my Social Security, so I need a few that. And that's it. Daria, I'm just scratching my head with her. She hasn't been on for like 2 weeks. She was on for 5 minutes. I think 2 days ago. It's just at 12:15 while I was doing class. I didn't get a message, and then she's not on today, and you just scratch your head going, yeah, but it's the war, and Putin is silencing the VPNs, so nothing gets out to the U.S. or England, which I understand, but yeah, it's a little bit strange not hearing from her for so long. It's just, you start questioning it. Did she leave me and not tell me that? Which I don't believe so. Not when you help them with food. They're not about to leave you. All right. So have a good day, everybody. www.teacherking.com. It's July 31st, August 29th. I would say I got to update my passwords. I would say by in the 20s there. Well, whatever that, August 25th. Let's see. August 25th is the two. I would say August. Yeah, I would buy August 25th, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I might post if the games start the 29th. Let's see. College starts August 29th, which is a Saturday. Yeah, so I will have the games posted. Yeah, probably by the 24th. And if you're buying the whole year, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I would buy by then because I'm going to post the games early because I want to get you before the spread starts moving on the 28th. The spread will start jumping, or the 27th. So I want you to have the games and the picks and get the good spreads. So I would say by the 24th, I would buy for the 29th. There's no reason to buy now. I'm not going to post anything. And I got to change the passwords anyway. So I'm going to do that. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So have a wonderful day. And I will talk to you tomorrow. www.teacherking.com. All right. Take care, everybody. Enjoy. Go gold.